Welcome back to Mr. Hanson Math Videos. This installment takes a little closer look at converting some perhaps slightly more difficult fractions into percents. This time around, we have 3/8. Now in the last installment we said that our goal is to really get some number out of 100, because out of 100 means the part you have out of 100 rather is your percent. But I can't think of a number that I can multiply times 8 to get 100, because 20 times 8 is 160, that's too big. 15 times 8 is, I think, 120, that's too big. 8 times 9 is 8 times 10, 8 times 12 is 96. It's not going to be simple, so your best bet is to divide. That is going to be your easiest and best friend for going from fractions to percents. So if we key in here on 3/8, start with your numerator 3. The fraction bar implies that you may divide, divided by the denominator, which is 8. So this is the order you push into the calculator. 3 divided by 8. And when you do that, you end up with 0.375. Anybody who works with building or measuring a lot, this is a fairly common one because it's an amount of eighths which we use on the ruler for measuring and on tape measures very commonly. So we have 3/8, 3 divided by 8, we turned it into a decimal. If you take a look here, breaking this down, we have nothing in the ones place, which tells us that this isn't a whole. We should know that because anytime your numerator is smaller than your denominator, you have less than a whole. If we had 8 out of 8, that's a whole. 9 out of 8 is more than a whole, but little bitty 3 out of 8 is less than whole. So we have 0 decimal. This is the hundredths place. This is the, oh boy, excuse me. This is the tenths place. This is the hundredths place, and this is the thousandths place. For percents, we're really concerned with the hundredths place. So if we look to the hundredths place here, it's the 7, so this is really like having 37%, but there's a little bit left over. You have this 5 here, which is in the thousandths place. So what you can do is, it's like multiplying by 100, because percent is out of 100, and we're really concerned with this hundredths place, which is the 7. If you swing the decimal over 2 places, once, twice, the decimal right now is between the 7 and the 5, so this is going to be like 37.5%. Again, like I said, you're looking at the hundredths place, which is 2 decimal places. If I were to cover up this 5, it's like having 37%, but there's a little bit more. It's 37.5%. Okay? In just a moment, we're also going to look at a fractional example. But there you have it. Divide, and then multiply by 100, which moves the decimal over once, twice, and you're really focusing on the first 2 places because percent means out of 100. So this is 37%, but you have to also consider the 5, so it's 37.5%. I hope I'm making sense. You know, to make it overly simplistic, it's moving the decimal 2 places in, which is multiplying by 100. But I just want you to know that percent means out of 100, so we're really looking to that hundredths place. 37%, not so fast. 37.5%. Next example, also commonly used for measuring, 1/16. I have no idea what to multiply 16 by to get 100, so again we're going to divide. 1 divided by 16. Press that into your calculator, make it do the work for you. 1 divided by 16 is 0.0625. Okay? Now, what are we going to do here? We have nothing in the ones place, nothing in the tenths place, and we have 6 in the hundredths place. So this is kind of telling you you have 6 hundredths or 6%. So you should think in your mind, my answer is going to be close to 6%, but you can't just discard this 2 and the 5 because it's important. So take your decimal point and swing it in 2 places, which is multiplying by 100, once, twice, and the decimal is going to go between the 6 and the 2. So you're going to have 6.25%, which I warned you that the answer would be close to 6%. It's 6% plus a little bit more, 6.25%. You could also write it like this, 6.25%. Okay? Get that decimal, swing it in 2 places, so it's after the hundredths spot. 6.25%, which is 6.25%. And finally, as I'm going a little bit over time here, let's go to one more. Let's try something different. Let's start with a percent and change it into a fraction. Okay? First we have 17.5%. You can think that this is going to be close to 17 out of 100. Okay, if you focus on the 17 whole percent means out of 100, it's going to be close to 17 out of 100, but we can't forget about this 0.5. So what we need to do is to go to the decimal. It's the opposite of what we've been doing. You move the decimal point, instead of 2 to the right, 2 to the left, because this is like dividing by 100, which is how you got your percent, your decimal rather. So once, twice. So now the decimal place is in front of this whole thing. 17.5% is the same as decimal point 175. Now, if you wanted to go, this is the decimal form. If you wanted to go back to the percent, it's like we've just been doing. You swing the decimal place twice to the right, once, twice, and you have your 17.5%. Ready? Multiply by 100. Once, twice, 17.5%, which is what we started with. And to make this into a fraction, you just be careful about how you read off the decimal places. The 1's in the tenths place, the 7's in the hundredths, and the 5 is in the thousandths. So this is 175 thousandths. Can you simplify that? I'm sure you can, but for now I just want to show you how you write it as a fraction. This is 175 thousandths. So there you have it. Hopefully this helps a little bit further, and thank you again for checking out my math instructional videos.